Again, y'all, back with my next top 10 video. Now, the last one was my top 10 obscure semi-obscure characters that I would like to see, but are pretty much a long shot. These are my, yeah, this is my top 10. I really don't expect these characters to show up, but if they did, I would generally be like, well, what the fuck? Because I actually ended up eating it on my last video, my 50 characters for Smash thing, where I had Bayonetta was an honorable mention because I would like to see her in, but I thought she had no realistic shot. And what did Nintendo freaking do? Maybe eat it. There's been a consistent theme from my videos and my live streams where if somebody mentions something offhand, it turns out to be true. So yeah, these are my top 10 characters that I'm mentioning offhand because it's not likely to happen, just so Nintendo can give me the big fat middle finger. So number 10, Sans from Undertale. Now Undertale is going to be on the Switch. I'm not saying it's impossible to make it in, but he's just there doesn't seem to be any congruency with, if that's even a word. Like, what would his move list be and something like that? I think he would be somebody that would be put in just to rile up the fans. If anything, he would be an he would be a trophy in the game, like how Rayman was, but wasn't actually in the game. Or he might even be an assist trophy at most. But I don't think he would be a full on character. But he's representative of a game that's just ridiculously popular. So Nintendo could get an easy, holy fuck. And number 9, following that up, Tracer from Overwatch. Not because I particularly like Tracer or anything, but since Overwatch has been off of Nintendo for so long, I think a good way for Blizzard to make up for that, so to speak, would be to introduce Tracer through Smash Brothers, because that seems to work a lot. If you put a character in Smash Brothers, that seems to be a great segue for bringing a character out of obscurity or introducing a character to your console. Like how Mega Man ended up, and Mega Man showed up in Smash, and then the Mega Man Collection games started coming out, and now we have Mega Man 11. So why not? I mean, my personal pick, if I would have any character from Overwatch, it would be Maya's Bay. But I'm realistic. I'm not an idiot. Well, I am an idiot, but like, there's no way it would be May. It would have to be Tracer, because let's just say that she's the mascot. I mean, if on the one hand you have Sans Undertale, then on the other hand you have Tracer Overwatch. So it just be like, oh my god, they actually did kind of a thing. But I don't expect her to actually show up because I don't know what Blizzard's deal is with Nintendo. Number 8, Ezio from the Assassin's Creed series. Now, since Assassin's Creed does have a presence on some Nintendo consoles, like the Wii U, there isn't a very strong tie to Nintendo. But I think if there's one character that represents Assassin's Creed as a series, it would definitely be Ezio, and he would be a perfect fit for if he would be the perfect mascot character to represent his franchise if he were to be put in a game like Smash Brothers. Now, him being an M-rated game doesn't mean anything now because Snake made it in M-rated game. The Metal Gear Solid the Twin Snakes was an M-rated game. Bayonetta, all the Bayonetta games are M-rated games. So M-rated games aren't a thing, and it's not like they couldn't, it's like swords or nothing like that. Like, it's just Link has swords. So, but I will admit, because of the nature of his game, it's kind of a long shot. But then again, if Bayonetta could make it in with the nature of her game and the nature of her character, it's not that much of a stretch that anybody else could make it in. Bayonetta was such a damn long shot, and that was just like, oh wow, they actually made that shit work. Number 7, in the same vein as Assassin's Creed being a game that thematically I wouldn't think would fit in Smash Brothers, Doom Guy is somebody I would like to see. Basically, because Doom has a long-standing history, it's probably, when you think of the most iconic first-person shooter ever made, you would probably think Doom. There are a lot of other games that have been around a long time, like Wolfenstein 3D, probably arguably the progenitor of the genre, and maybe like Quake. But I think Doom is really the one that really hit the FPS landscape, that made everything the way that was closest to forming the landscape that we have now, where you have multiple machines put together to have death matches. I mean, I think that basically was the game that created and popularized. I could be wrong about that, but I really do think it was the game that created and popularized the deathmatch genre. And I remember doing LAN parties and crazy stuff like that. People in the dorms where I used to go back when I was in high school, they'd link their computers together just to play Doom, and I remember fun times with that. Um, I just find it funny that Doom made it out onto the Switch. The original Doom, like Doom and like Doom 2, was one of the two games. I know Doom was on the Super Nintendo because the Super Nintendo version was actually better than the 32X version, which was crazy to think about. But Doom's been around a while, and Doom and Nintendo do go way back. And Doom Guy is an iconic game character. I mean, but it's just like, what would you call him? This game's winner is Doom Guy. Like they would have to officially name the character at that point and be like, can we really call him just Doom Guy? This game's winner is Sergeant Dominic Oom. Right. All right. Now the next three are kind of long shots, but not really. Well, yeah, they are kind of long shots because they're basically the next three are kind of they're Sony brands. But number 6, because she's not technically a Sony exclusive, would be 2B from Nier Automata. As I previously stated in my last video, I'm a really big fan of the what it means to be a human, the Pinocchio complex, or I don't know, is this the Pinocchio problem? When it comes to sci-fi and things like that, Android characters are some of my favorite. I've been, for the longest time, I kept messing up and calling her B4 because but that's the name of Data's younger brother from Star Trek Nemesis, and I keep calling her. I want to call her 2B, but I want to call her B, but B4. He's B4. She's 2B. Yorha number 2B, I think, is the name. I like her design. The game seems like it'd be really fun. I'm gonna go around to getting her playing at some point. Number 5, just above her, because I think she's less likely to show up because she is a PlayStation exclusive character, would be Aloy or Aloy, however her name is pronounced, from Horizon Zero Dawn. Since I haven't actually played the game yet, I don't really have any real attachment to the character. I just know that the game was really good, really well received. She looked like a fun character to play. She's already gotten a crossover with Monster Hunter World. So, yeah, I mean, like, why the heck not? But like I said, it's PlayStation exclusive, kind of a PlayStation exclusive character, so I don't think she'll ever show up on a non-Sony console. But if Smash Brothers has proven anything, it's that to expect the unexpected. So, but it's like, I guess nothing is impossible, but it's so unlikely that it would seem like it would be something Nintendo would do just to say gotcha. And even more above that, even more of a gotcha than her, for number 4, Kratos from God of War. Now, I've never been a fan of the God of War series. I played some of the original games. I wasn't impressed. It was just ridiculously overhyped set pieces with some action in between. And for some people, they might have liked that. But for me, I wasn't too fond of the character, and I wasn't too fond of the gameplay. But from what I've heard, I might actually go back and give it a shot because the newest one, Dad of Boy, seems to be really, really popular, and it's been smashing sales records. So, kudos if they've actually done something different with the character. This seems to be a trend now with games where old series are taking bold new directions, like Breath of the Wild, like God of War. Just go off and do a completely different thing, or story-wise, just go for a linear thing, and it becomes really, really popular, and people really like it, and people really respond well. It also gives a giant middle finger to EA for saying something stupid like, people don't want single-player, story-driven games. So, yeah. But Kratos has been a long-standing PlayStation icon. I seriously don't think we're going to see him on anything other than a PlayStation. Number 3, from a game I recently picked up, or a remake of a game that I recently picked up. Where the hell did I put the damn thing? I think I dropped it. Oh boy. Well, another one of my favorite beat-em-ups of all time, Dragon's Crown. So, of the 6 characters, I think Sorceress is probably the one that's closest to being a mascot for the game. Since her design stands out from everybody else, the warrior is just a warrior, the dwarf is a dwarf, the sorcerer wizard doesn't really stand out too much, but sorceress has an iconic look that might draw some of the wrong kind of attention. But if you've played Dragon's Crown, everybody in that game is ridiculously designed, especially the men. Well, not even especially the men. Have you seen some of the guys in that game? The warrior himself has shoulders 3 times broader than his waist, so everybody in that game is ridiculously like is almost a ridiculous caricature of like real anatomy. But I do love the game. I love the art. I love the art direction. It is in my top 10 beat 'em ups. It's just not top 3 because some really bad design choices. But that's something I'll save for the other video. But it was really between Sorceress and Amazon, but I think Sorceress would just be more fun with her summons and her spells, whereas Amazon mostly just has a lot of axe attacks, and there isn't much beyond that, I think, that would make her that compelling to play. So, since the witch also has the broom thing, that could be her up B to get her out of things. Although the Amazon does have the axe spinning thing that could be her up B as well. But one of those two from the game, and it would probably be Sorceress of those two. And of two, number 2, and I almost completely forgot that she was even like I almost completely forgot about her because she's from a game series that I never really paid attention to, but is nonetheless very iconic and has been around for almost 20 years I think now. Lara Croft from the Tomb Raider series. Now, I've never been into the Tomb Raider games. They were never really that my cup of tea, but Lara Croft, regardless of how I feel about her, is an icon in this industry and in the gaming landscape. She's been around for a long time. She keeps getting a lot of movies too, but I think it's just weird. She hasn't had much of a presence on on Nintendo. I don't think she hasn't had any presence on Nintendo, but I think that'd be a good way to bridge the gap and maybe start getting some Tomb Raider games on the NES, but NES on Nintendo. But I just seriously doubt that would ever be a thing. And speaking of things I doubt would ever be a thing because he's such an icon for his own thing, for Microsoft, number 1, Master Chief of Halo. Not because I love Halo or particularly anything, but like Halo was an icon, again, another iconic franchise. If GoldenEye from the 64 generation, like Nintendo 64, GoldenEye was that game was that shooter that everybody played to get together. After that generation, it was most definitely Halo. Just coming out of the military, getting an Xbox, there would be almost every weekend you could go into one of the barracks and you would see 4, like 2, 3, 4, or even 4, all like 4 Xboxes in like the one barracks lounge with everybody trying to play the game. There were a couple of times where most of my friends that I had in the military, we'd go over to one of the barracks, or a couple of my friends who had base housing, we'd go over to their place, set up a couple of Xboxes. Like I said, Halo was a long-running franchise. Master Chief is an icon. Master Chief vs. Samus is something I think a lot of people would like to see. Long shot, but very much a long shot. But I think he's such an iconic character, and he's if there's one character that is Xbox, the one character that symbolizes Mario symbolizes Nintendo, then Master Chief most definitely symbolizes Xbox. I couldn't say who, if any, character would symbolize Sony because they keep changing hands on who it is. I guess at this point it probably would be Kratos, however you would pronounce the name. But I read it more than I hear it, so I guess Mr. Sony would definitely be Kratos. So just imagine that if you ended up having Mario. Well, I guess the more logical opposite of them would be Link from the Zelda series. Since Mario and Zelda go hand in hand, I think Mario is the face of Nintendo, but Zelda is like, if Zelda is probably, I guess, the right hand or the left hand. I think Link going up against Kratos would be a really fun thing to see. So that's my top 10. That's my top 10. What that WTF characters that if they showed up, it would be a genuine WTF. Next up on my next 10 is characters I know we're going to be in. Like it's a new Smash Brothers game or an updated version. We already know Inklings are going to be in, so there's going to be more characters that are going to be in, especially from Nintendo. So these are my top 10 characters I'm positive are going to make it in. So see you in the next video.